Fiat Seicento 140,000 kilometers, mileage 1.1 liter engine equipped with LPG, and that's it. About this car, I will need this car to carry out a Ceramizator text. I have tested this product many times. What will I do? I will check the effect of Ceramizator on oil pressure and cylinder pressure. First, we warm up this car to the right temperature. For it to be reliable before and after pouring the Ceramizator, the temperature of the engine must be very similar, and thus the temperature of the oil. If it is colder, then the pressure will show us higher. That's why I want it to be the same. Seicento has the problem that there is no liquid temperature gauge, but we will use a pyrometer and measure the temperature of the engine. This will be the most accurate. Tachometer. A very important parameter at the moment. We have 800 revolutions per minute and exactly the same number of revolutions we must have at the time of measurement after pouring Ceramizator, and now let it heat up. We'll see. It should be fine now. (89.6 degrees Celsius is the perfect temperature. And the oil pressure is 0.8 bar. Memorize this value carefully. Now I turn off the engine, remove the spark plugs, and measure the pressure on the cylinders. Hot, and now the pressure in the cylinders. In sequence. Here's a manometer I'll screw in. Remember that when measuring the pressure, always accelerator pedal to the max, so that you open the throttles to the max, so that all the air gets into the engine. Then the engine will build the actual correct pressure. Now gas to the max and measure. Enough. Let's see what the first cylinder recorded. 8 bars. There are no miracles, but it will not be better. Now we put the pressure gauges on the other one. More than 7 bars, and we screw the pressure gauge into the third cylinder. We'll see what's going on here. I don't know what you brewed, but I don't have a rectifier connected. I deliberately did not connect it, because I want to get as close to the conditions as possible. The car was warmed up, so it went to the very end. The battery was properly charged, and at this point, measuring from the first to the fourth cylinder, I will later have very similar conditions after pouring the preparation on a hot engine. Of course, the gas pedal to the floor, and the fourth cylinder. I specifically chose a car with a 4-cylinder engine for the program. Can you imagine how long it would take if, for example, I had 12 cylinders? The last cylinder, I get in the car, gas pedal to the max, and you watch what happens on the 4th cylinder. Almost 8.5 bar. Check out the manometers. And what now? I screw the spark plugs back in. I pour Ceramizator. It won't work right away. With this car, we will do a few kilometers. It takes 2 to 3 hours at idle. And probably tomorrow, we will finish this episode and check exactly the same values in exactly the same way. We warm up the engine to the right temperature so that the oil density and temperature, oil and fluid temperature were the same. We will check the oil pressure, and then we will remove the plugs. Check if the Ceramizator had any influence on increasing the pressure in the cylinders and the oil pressure. I'm curious myself. Listen to the Ceramizator application now. The engine is warm all the time, so I unscrew the oil cap. 100,000 kilometers protects the engine, E for the life of this car. And now we pour the preparation. Two days later, I've done the right amount of miles. I traveled by car for 2 days, and now we will check whether the preparation had any effect on improving the performance of this engine. We start with the temperature, because the temperature is the most important. 94.2 degrees Celsius, slightly higher than last time. But now I would like to ask you to post a small picture of how much it was before. I removed the filter, removed the spark plugs. Or not. First, the oil pressure. Remember what I said at the beginning, as close as possible to the parameters, the engine temperature, and revolutions. Temperature check now revs. Who remembers what they were like? 800 revolutions per minute. We'll see what the manometer shows. 1.1 bar, which is 0.3 bar more. That's how much the oil pressure increased. And now, it turns off the engine. I remove the spark plugs, and let's see how the cylinders work. I'm getting faster and faster at removing spark plugs in the Seicento. Old times came back. Cylinder number 1. There were 8 bars. We'll see if anything changes. How much to start the engine? Gas pedal to the max, and you see how much the pressure gauge will show. It was 8 bar, and it is 8.5 bar. Second cylinder. Watch, there was 7 bar on this cylinder. Let's see the second cylinder. They don't have much improvement here. 7.2 bar. Why didn't the preparation work on this cylinder? This car runs on LPG, and ceramics regenerate the surface between the elements that rub directly against each other. If the car runs on LPG, there is a high probability that the valves are leaking, and the ceramics of leaking valves are not able to regenerate. Also here you will need to check the valve clearance. Break in the valves so that this cylinder returns to its correct values. But let's deal with the third cylinder. Look, it's 8.5 bars, and it was 8 bars. We're going in the right direction. The last cylinder was 9 bar, and it was 8.5 bar. Why did I do this test? Because very often you ask me questions whether Ceramizator paired your engine. Well, as you can see, it works. But of course it's an individual matter. But I think you'll agree that before you spend a few thousand to repair the engine, it's worth spending a few tenner and give the engine a chance. Often you associate this preparation as only a preparation for engine regeneration. And this is a preparation that should be used prophylactically, and then the defect will be shifted in time and the wallet will be thicker longer.